lot going on at China ASEAN Expo. And for more, let's turn to Qiang. He is in Beijing, an assistant director of the International Monetary Institute. Thanks very much for joining us. I certainly appreciate it. I want to start out by asking you, China is calling to be even closer to its ASEAN members, pointing out this past year, economic growth jumped by more than 11%.
Oh, yes. From the numbers, you can tell China has 1.4 billion people, customers, consumers, and also in ASEAN regions, we're looking at 600 million people. Plus extended regions, we're looking at a similar size. And in this region, actually, their demographic structure is very optimized, and their economic growing is really been stunning. So we're looking at from the 20 years ago, actually from the 2002, 2003, we're looking at only about $100 billion US dollar worth of the mutual trade. Mm-hmm. But now, 20 years, we're looking at $1 billion US dollar, or $1 trillion worth of US dollar worth of trade. So this is actually very phenomenal.
You know, and also, if you look at history, this is the 20th meeting. And I think about not how just the organization has grown over the last 2 decades, but also how China has matured. What does it mean 20 years on holding this, and how important is it to the region and to the global economy?
Well, I think just take a look at the theme of this year's of the Expo. Work together for our harmonious home and share the future. I think this is actually very important because if you take a look at the China plus ASEAN model, you will see this set actually a very important example and a new paradigm for the international relations as well as global trade. Because in here, we do not see the word like China dominate or China lead. Or anything like that. It's a mutual respect. It's embracing the diversity. When Chinese enterprises works in ASEAN nation as well as ASEAN investors goes into China, or people traveling between the two regions, you will find everybody are so equal within each other. China never sees itself as a special country or investors in the region, as well as ASEAN nations when they work with China. So I think this new paradigm actually fit into this new economic structure of the whole world right now, not like in the World War I and II period of time. That is, if you want to win, then you colonize, you conquer. In the Cold War time, you need to choose side and fight against each other because it's a new era of economy. China, as one of the most important manufacturer in the whole world, believes who needs a poor and a broken neighbor, or you need a rich and a harmonious and a peaceful neighbor. Because with a peaceful and a harmonious neighborhood, and you can have a healthy and a beneficial trade with each other. Everybody can win together. So this is a new paradigm.
Yes, and to pick up on that, China is calling for more interdependence among the ASEAN member states and vows more opening up by Beijing and making greater strides in protecting intellectual rights as well as promoting fair competition. This is what's coming from China. Oh,
yes, exactly. Actually, in the past, the whole region has been interfered by many third-party influences. But as the economy and the politics of this region has growing by itself, I think independence has become a very important topic among China and ASEAN regions as well. I think all the political leaders and business leaders has already achieved many of the consensus in this regard. And meanwhile, in the whole region, I think it's time and new era for us to develop our own pattern, protect our own intellectual properties. And now we've been seeing many enterprises actually in the regions are being co-invested by our mutual investors. For example, if you go to the SCA Group, if you go to the Tokopedia, if you go to the Alibaba, you will find out those are enterprises that are funded by both the ASEAN investors and the Chinese investors. So in this region, actually, the correlations has actually been more closer than many other outside countries can imagine. So this is the time for the Eastern Asia.
No question, it is a dynamic region. We want to thank you very much for your insight and continue to monitor the Expo as well. Thank you so much.